Over the last few months, I've talked a lot about what AI is and isn't capable of, especially when it comes to software engineering. But there's one big question that keeps coming up over and over again. So here goes. Will AI replace software engineers? Now, if you're a software engineer yourself, maybe you're wondering the same thing. And if you aren't, but you want to become one, then you probably want to know if your job will even exist in 5 years. Don't worry. Today we'll answer all of these questions and more. Let's start off by looking at what AI can and can't do today. And for this, let's look at two very popular and capable AI tools, GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT. They both leverage large language models to predict what comes next in a sequence. For example, they can generate code for simple functions, finish your sentences, complete your songs, and much, much more. In fact, just by prompting them with enough context, you can get them to write entire programs. Here's an example where I asked ChatGPT to generate a simple app that allows users to add and remove items from a shopping cart. And it does such a good job that it's actually deployable. It's probably not great for production, but my point is that AI can already do a lot. These tools can generate code, fix bugs, document code, refactor code, and even build simple apps. That's why it's a good idea to use them and let AI assist you with your day-to-day work. However, it's important to note that as powerful as these tools are, they're not quite ready to replace software engineers yet. Most of the time, engineers use these AI assistants to speed up their workflow, but they still need to oversee the AI's output to make sure everything is done correctly. You could say that most AI tools are not replacements, but rather assistants. However, that may not always be the case. So here's a follow-up question. Which tasks are most vulnerable to automation? After all, some jobs are more susceptible to AI disruption than others. Take a look at this list of statements and try to figure out which one of them could be replaced by an AI assistant. If you guessed any of these, you'd be right. Research has shown that jobs that involve a lot of routine-based tasks are the most vulnerable to automation. This means that things like building CRUD apps, performing basic testing, or refactoring code are things that AI can already do pretty well, assuming you give it the right prompts. This also means that more junior developers who typically work on these types of tasks might be the first ones affected. Of course, don't take my word for it. Let's check with ChatGPT to see if it thinks it can replace junior developers. And interestingly enough, it says no. That's because while AI can do many things, it still struggles with ambiguous requirements. Designing complex architectures, planning projects weeks or months down the road, or understanding the nuances of highly technical systems is something AI is really bad at. It can't understand natural language well enough to interpret vague requests or anticipate problems before they arise. In other words, it doesn't have the creativity required to come up with elegant solutions to complex problems. That's something only humans can do for now. It's also worth mentioning that software engineering involves more than just writing code. It often involves communicating with stakeholders, gathering requirements, designing user interfaces, and building domain-specific logic. Again, areas where AI falls short. This is why, despite all the hype around AI, most companies are still hiring software engineers left and right. Sure, they're asking for experience with AI tools as part of the job requirements, but that's just because these tools have become so popular and useful that they're now part of the standard developer workflow. All that said, there is one area where AI is starting to excel, and that's prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is the art and science of figuring out the best ways to ask AI tools to do what you want. As such, developers are quickly becoming AI whisperers, meaning they're learning how to talk to ChatGPT or Claude to get the most useful outputs possible. On the surface, this might sound trivial, but in reality, it's not. You see, the best prompts are clear, concise, and specific, which means that whisperers have to know exactly what they're asking for. They can't just wing it. Instead, they need to know the capabilities and limitations of the tool they're using inside and out. Some whisperers even go as far as documenting their findings in a second brain, so that everyone on their team can benefit from their expertise. Now, I don't know about you, but this sounds like a real job to me. So is full autonomy enough to reach AGI? To answer this question, we need to talk about AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence. AGI refers to a hypothetical type of AI that would be equal to or smarter than the average human. We don't have AGI yet, but once we do, I think we can finally talk about replacements. Until then, though, I don't think we're quite there yet. I mean, sure, AI can write code and help with debugging, but it can't yet hold conversations like a real person, understand emotions, or come up with truly original ideas. These are things that humans are still really good at and will continue to be good at for the foreseeable future. Now you might be wondering, are there any other jobs that AI can replace besides software engineering? Well, yes, there are plenty. Jobs that involve repetitive tasks and easy-to-understand instructions are all fair game for AI. Think assembly line workers, truck drivers, and telemarketers. However, it's also worth noting that AI can't replace every aspect of every job. For example, while AI can drive trucks autonomously, it can't yet make business decisions or negotiate contracts. Alright, so what about junior developers? After all, it seems like junior developers are the ones most at risk. Well, it's hard to say for sure because junior devs are the most likely to be replaced by AI because they typically perform the lowest level tasks. However, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. Just because AI can do your current job doesn't mean it can't do anything else. It's likely that the skills you develop as a junior dev will still be relevant in the future. For example, being able to adapt to change, communicate effectively, and solve problems creatively are all soft skills that are unlikely to be automated anytime soon. With that said, it's also worth noting that the way people work is constantly changing. For example, the rise of AI has led to the creation of new tech roles that didn't exist before, such as AI tool integrators, data curation engineers, and hybrid human-AI software teams. These are just a few examples of how the market is evolving, and it's likely that more will follow. In the end, the impact of AI on software engineering is inevitable. Whether it replaces us or not, it's up for debate. However, one thing is certain: the way we work will never be the same again. So instead of worrying about being replaced by AI, I encourage you to learn how to work with it. The sooner you learn to harness its power, the better you'll be able to use it to your advantage. And if you want to keep learning how AI is impacting software engineering, consider checking out these videos right here. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.